4, as we've seen. Moncada, Garcia, Abreu, and Davidson. Nicky Delmonico against a righty bumps up to 5. Castillo, Sanchez, Anderson, the right-hander against the righty, bats 8th and angle 9th.
Let's take a look at the U of I Health defensive setup. The defensive setup for the Blue Jays presented by UI Health. Here's how John Gibbons is going to run them out there tonight. It's Granderson, Pilar, and Grichuk left to right, with Donaldson and Gobe, Travis and Smoke in the infield. Russell Martin gets a nod behind the plate, and our Lexus experienced amazing starting pitcher is Aaron Sanchez. Last year, a lost year for him. We'll talk about what happened to him. This year, he is a star. This guy's got great stuff. Everything points to a 20-game season if his team keeps hitting the baseball as they have been in this series especially. There's nothing he can't do with the baseball. He throws it hard, throws a lot of ground balls, and gets the big out, the double play when he needs it. Let's take a look at the umpires for the game tonight, the finale of this road trip. As we head home after the game, it's Greg Gibson behind the plate, Vic Carapazza at first, Jordan Baker at second, and Jerry Lane. Their crew chief is at third base. So on what is a gorgeous night for baseball here under the dome, fortunately, because if the wind is blowing out tonight, it would be 41-40. Nick is sitting there talking with Jerry Lane, who is a very big man. However, that's the same view if you got Jordan Baker on one side and Jerry Lane on the other. Jordan Baker about 6'8", one of the tallest umpires in baseball. Jerry Lane a big guy certainly, but couldn't get a rebound for Jordan Baker if they played for a month.
I think it's story time between Nick and Jerry over there. As Aaron Sanchez, 25-year-old, takes the hill for the Blue Jays, and we take a look at him as a starter. An ERA of 3 a couple of years ago. The injuries last season, 11 starts in 2015.
This guy has everything you need to be a star. He's got a huge, fast-breaking, hard-thrown curveball to go with a big fastball that moves everywhere.
His first pitch to Yohan Moncada is low for ball 1, and we are wheels up from Rogers Center tonight. Thanks for joining us for White Sox baseball once again.
This is when you try to get to a sinker baller in the first inning. The reason being that he's got a whole lot of adrenaline, and sometimes, especially with young pitchers, what happens is that he throws harder than he'd like and the sinker doesn't see. It flattens out. That's when line drives instead of ground balls come.
Changeup comes in at about 90 miles an hour. He threw a bundle of them against the Yankees in his first start. 17 changeups out of 89 pitches for Sanchez, which is a higher number than normal for him.
Well, Aaron worked on it all spring, and he wants to incorporate the changeup into his repertoire, knowing that if he throws more changes, he has to throw less curveballs. Consequently, it's easier to hang a curveball than it is to hang a straight change, especially one that sinks like that.
2-2. Fastball. 3-2.
Maybe he'll walk his way into trouble again with young pitchers, hard throwing pitchers. The real trouble spot is the first inning.
Sox have only taken 5 walks in this series compared to 24 strikeouts. 3-2 is high, ball 4, close take, and Moncada with a leadoff walk. Hey, Sox fans, be sure to check in to Guaranteed Rate Field with the MLB Ballpark app. For your first check-in this season, which we hope comes tomorrow, you get a free White Sox hat presented by Coca-Cola. Download the MLB Ballpark app through the App Store today. Sox home opener tomorrow, 3:10 first pitch. James Shields on the hill for the Sox. And we're supposed to have serviceable weather, so we expect that you will be there at the ballpark tomorrow.
There will be baseball, and the weather for early April is going to be pretty good.
Ball 1 to Avisail Garcia. So Moncada on for the 5th consecutive game to start the season for the Sox. He walked in the 7th in yesterday's game and led the game off with a single in the opener on Monday.
Normally, Ricky would like to run in this situation, but he wants to make sure Sanchez can get the ball over the plate before he runs into an out.
On the ground, hard hit. Donaldson, tough catch. Travis secures it and turns 2.
This is unfortunately what Sanchez does to you. You pound the ball in the dirt, stayed with nicely by Donaldson. Not a good throw, but Travis is able to reach behind and turn the double play rather easily. Avi hits it so hard that if he hits it at somebody, it's going to be 2.
Avi was the BABIP king in baseball last year, batting average on balls in play, and that one is one that comes off the bat so hard you'd expect to get a hit out of it. It was right at Donaldson. And here's Jose Abreu to take strike 1.
Jose is testing that back line, trying to get as far back as possible because he can wait on the ball, let it get deep, and then take it to right and right center.
It's really a turbo changeup that Sanchez throws.
You know, it's interesting because he throws a circle change, but it's the last 2 fingers, the little finger and the finger next to it, the ring finger. It's almost a splitter, but it gives you that motion into the right-hand hitter. Or straight down like that one. I mean,
those were 2 separate changeups to the right-handed hitter, though.
The one he wanted to throw that moved inside, the other one he wanted to throw that went straight down, and because of that split, you can do both. And it really, at 25 years old, it's really impressive because youngsters don't have that kind of command of 2 separate changes. He also has 2 separate fastballs, 2-seam, 4-seam.
1-2.
That sinker and that straight change are designed to get the hitter to hit the top of the baseball. If you hit the top of the baseball, you're going to hit it straight into the ground, and that's what he depends on. Now, he's going to even be better on the road with that because it's softer infield. This still has the artificial surface, and the dirt makes it skid, gives infielders some problems. Tim Anderson was talking about that before the game tonight.
If he lives down there, you're going to have to throw some coins in the fountain and make some wishes tonight. Sanchez with a lethal looking first inning. We're scoreless. Tonight, Devin Travis is back in after a day off yesterday. Donaldson keeps homering against the Sox. Let's stop that. Thank you. Smoke, Granderson, and Grichuk, Martin, Morales, Pilar, and then Gift and Gopay with the injury to Aledmus Diaz.
UI Health defensive setup. The defensive setup for our Sox presented by UI Health. It's Nicky, Adam, and Abisail with Yomer, Tim, Yohan, and Matt. Wellington and Carson Fulmer, our Lexus Experience Amazing starting pitcher.
First pitch, fastball low. Fastball command so important to Carson Fulmer.
There's a look at Carson. Last year, 3-1, ERA of 3.86, more than respectable. He was awfully good. Left-handers did nothing with him at 163. And he's got to fight the butterflies and the adrenaline surge that he has now.
In the air, first base side, foul territory. Matt Davidson playing first today for the first time this year, and that one out of his reach.
Tough play for any first baseman. The only thing you hope for is your second baseman is playing the hitter to pull, and then maybe he can go over there and get it. But as you can see, getting too close to the seats, we certainly need Matt Davidson the rest of the way. So if there's a choice, let it go foul. No collisions with the stands.
As a fastball for a strike. Well, we certainly know from seeing him the last couple of years in either the minors or here in the majors, Carson Fulmer has a lot of movement on his stuff. It's just a matter of finding its way into the zone.
Sometimes it moves a little too much, but more times than not, it's very lively.
Got a bat that time. Sanchez across the diamond, out number 1.
That was a good change that Carson threw Travis, and everybody that's in the dugout is going to see, oh, okay, that changeup's pretty good. He also throws it from the same release point, and he throws it with the same arm velocity. If you do that, you don't tip off the change. Anytime you lower your arm a bit, or the arm velocity is any different than it is on the fastball, you tip off the change. The hitter then keeps his hands back, and when you throw one where the hitter does not come forward with his hands, you just shudder and want to know how far it's going to go.
The release point being important because at some point the hitter has to make a decision on what each pitch is, and there's a moment when you have to snap to and make the choice to swing or not. And if it comes from the same position in that same tunnel, it makes it more difficult on the hitter, right?
You want to see that hitter think it's a fastball for as long as possible until he identifies the change. By that time, it's usually too late.
Two and 0 to Josh Donaldson, who has a pair of home runs in this series. He's now got a home run in 5 consecutive games against the Sox, which sadly is not new for him.
No, he's become a real pest, and that's awfully sad for the boys in gray tonight.
He's joined a dubious list.
Boog Powell, Harmon Killebrew, the Hall of Famer, Roger Maris, and Bob Johnson. And be careful here because Donaldson has the 3-0 green light, and if you keep this ball away and it's straight, he'll go that way and hit it a mile to right or right center field.
Good pitch for 3-0. Didn't let him swing at it.
Yeah, that one was perfect. I mean, that was on the corner or maybe just off. You look at the career against the Sox, he's been a one-man wrecking crew. 344, 14 home runs. That's in 35 games, folks. 34 driven in.
Fulmer misses. So 1 on 1 out for Justin Smoke. In case you're wondering, by the way, Bob Johnson was a 7-time All-Star back in his day in the 30s and 40s. But Josh Donaldson is the king of home runs in 5 straight games against the Sox. Those are lofty names, and he's done it twice.
But that's a way to contain the long ball. Walking.
That's true. He only gets 1 base for that.
And speed is not a big part of his game. So if you can get Smoke to ground into a double play because speed is not a big part of his game, the walk will be harmless.
Justin Smoke, 1 for 7 in the series. The Sox have neutralized him pretty well, turning him around for the most part, if possible, late in games from the right-hand side to force his more drained power side. Fulmer busts him inside, 0-2.
That was a good cutter in, and that's what Carson has done to be able to consistently get inside the left-handers. Because of the movement on his ball, it usually comes back over the plate to a left-hand hitter. This time he cuts it just a touch. It stays right there. Perfect pitch right under the hands, and Smoke could do nothing with it.
You shocked that a Sox pitcher has a cutter?
No. I think if they didn't know it before, James Shields coming over here certainly convinced them that it's very effective, as is that.
Strike 3. Fulmer punches out Smoke very quickly and 2 away.
2 in a row right under his hands, the second of which is a little better than the first. There's a little sink on that one as it dives down and in, and Smoke a strikeout victim. From high overhead, good camera angle, gives you an idea where that pitch was in relation to his hands. And now the guy last night hit the ball hard 5 times. That took him from the leadoff spot to the 4 spot in back of Smoke. Granderson has been crushing the ball in this series.
One to center, that was a seed. One to left field, that was hit pretty hard. The ground ball that Sox got him on in the first was no slouch, and then double and triple.
Granderson has just 2 hits in the series. 2 hits last night, excuse me, 3 in the series, but it doesn't tell the tale because he's been on everything. Don't know if it'll hold for him, but right now he's not a pleasant man to face.
In a season when it was really difficult for veterans in spring training to find a home, Eric Hosmer was a free agent for a long time. Curtis Granderson at age 37 seems to have fit in very quickly with Toronto.
I think they're very happy to have the left-hand bat. It's not going to be as powerful as it once was, but he's very effective and a wonderful man on the ball club. He's one of the nicest guys around.
Certainly highly thought of in Chicago. We've talked about his ties to UIC. A South suburban guy, Curtis Granderson from TF South.
Donaldson does have a stolen base this year in 1 attempt.
He's not going anywhere right now as Fulmer misses.
I would actually encourage him to go at this point.
Yeah.
Maybe you can get out of the inning and have Curtis lead off the next. Don't think John Gibbons is going to go for that, however. First of all, if this team is going to catch either one of those top 2 teams, the Yankees or the Red Sox, they're going to need Josh Donaldson.
Two and one. That's close. Didn't get it. 3 balls and a strike. By the way, programming note. 7 o'clock. We're going to be joined by Michael Kopech on the eve of his first AAA start this season with the Knights. Kopech will join us by phone. He's not flying here and then flying to Durham.
No.
We have phones for that. Looking forward to talking to Michael about what he wants out of his season. Granderson cinches another ball, and Avi's got to go a long way, so Donaldson takes the turn from second to third very easily to put runners at the corners with 2 out.
You might ask why John Gibbons, who is an observant man, would put Granderson at 4. He shows you right here. This one drifts over the plate. Granderson takes it to the right side. Despite the shift, he fits it in a very small hole. By Moncada, Donaldson to third. Inning still alive.
So here's Randall Grichuk, who still is looking for his first hit in the series. Got a couple of walks. But Carson Fulmer mentioned during spring training that he wanted to get back to that curveball and changeup, some of the stuff that got him outs in college, and we haven't seen much of the breaking balls so far.
Well, there is one, and he was trying to get ahead with the hook, knowing that if you do throw a curveball in the neighborhood, the hitter's going to take it. They don't want to hit a curveball unless it's just right hanging there up in his eyes, and that one just hung too far inside.
And Grichuk especially probably doesn't want to see a breaking ball.
No.
Off speed, swings through it, 1-1. '26-year-old former St. Louis Cardinal Randall Grichuk. You think maybe Cardinals wish they would have taken Mike Trout?
I think they had 2 picks in the first round. I believe that Trout was the second of their first round picks.
That's right.
And Grichuk was their
That's right.
first. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people had a chance to pick Mike Trout. In fact, they had 23 other chances to pick him and nobody did, which shows it's not an exact science. And the fact is, Johnny Bench was picked in the 2nd round by Cincinnati, who picked Bernie Carbo in the 1st round. That tells you all you want to know about the draft not being an exact science.
2-1 from Fulmer. And Grichuk fouls it off his leg. You have to walk that off. 2-2. Blue Jays trying to get back to the playoffs after missing in 2017. They had that long drought after the World Series win in '93. Didn't make the playoffs again until 2015.
Grichuk is a man of many strikeouts. Last year, 133 of them in just 412 at bats. So as I always tell you, that IT is my middle name. Randall's going to fan a lot. Hasn't taken Kirby yet as a middle name, but Toronto would love to see him start making more contact because he's enormously strong.
There's a ticket plan for every fan. Get access to every opponent with a partial ticket package or handpick your games with a 10-game package. Secure your seats for the 2018 season today. For more information, 312-674-1000 or visit whitesox.com. Cardinals in that draft, by the way, took Shelby Miller a couple picks before Grichuk. Swing and a miss, strike three. Carson Fulmer navigates out of the first inning, and we are scoreless through one.
Built for Baseball is presented by T-Mobile. T-Mobile is the best network for streaming baseball because your stadium should be where you make it.
Glad to have a stadium with a roof. As we mentioned tonight, the wind galing outside. And Sox trying to get out of town with a win after falling 14-5 yesterday, 4-2 in the opener. And Matt Davidson, who got punched out on 3 separate borderline pitches, one inside, one outside, and then another one that he thought was a ball as well. 2 of those happened to be 3-ball counts, by the way.
2-0 because you don't want him to get either that changeup or the big curve, the hard curve that he hasn't thrown yet. You got to sit on a fastball wherever Matt would like it, middle in, middle out. If you don't get it, you don't have to swing. That was middle out, and at 94 was in a good spot.
Two one. Way inside near his knees. So 3 balls and a strike. Sanchez with electric stuff, but he's already walked 1.
He's really tipped off how he wants to get Matt Davidson because he's gone inside with 3 different pitches. We'll talk about why older pitchers wouldn't do that first time up with nobody on base.
Davidson crushes this ball to left field, and it is out of here.
That's why you don't want to go in 4 times the same at bat. And Matt Davidson hitting his 4th of the year, his 7th driven in, the 4th of 4 inside pitches, leaves the yard, and that's been his signature home run. A line drive rocket with great exit velocity, although that wasn't near as hard as the ones in Kansas City. It still had plenty to make it. Our 4th home run replay will show you the 4th of 4 inside pitches. And this one does not fool him at all.
Gone and not forgotten. Another generous donation from the Alex Snellius family in loving memory of Ursula with that home run. So the Sox are on the board again with a major league leading 13 home runs. They came into the day tied with Washington with 12. Sox now with 13, the most in baseball.
A veteran pitcher doesn't want to show a hitter the first time up with nobody on base what his hole card is, how he's going to get him, because he's going to come up with 2 on later in the game, and if you show him inside is where you're going to go, he's going to torch you.
Now Nicky with a fly ball to left field toward the corner. Granderson watches it fly foul. Nicky didn't miss by much there.
No, this one's slicing down the line. It's only 328 down each line, and Granderson going over. Wouldn't have had enough to make it, but Nicky gets another life.
Ball and 2 strikes. 1 in already for the Sox. And a hook for strike 3. Second punch out for Sanchez. Minor league start tomorrow. Luis Robert, who is on the shelf right now with Jason Irizarry, who came over from the Rangers last year for international bonus pool money, but Luis enjoying Winston-Salem Dash Media Day.
It's a very talented young man who's got some growing to do yet, and he's a very big man at this point. Plus, they say him and Billy Hamilton, the reigning speed burner in baseball. They say flip a coin because they're both about as fast.
But then you compare body types, and Luis Robert is this massive human being who doesn't look like he would be as fast as a Billy Hamilton.
And Billy doesn't have quite the power that Luis has.
But can either of them put together an inside the park home run like Edwin Encarnacion?
Well, probably when they do get around, it'll be not 18 seconds, and they'll also have a little more breath than Edwin had when he made the trip of the base path. It was a carom off the left field short fence and went into left center field against the Angels, and around he came.
Yeah, it's not going to be a StatCast superhero, but it got the job done certainly. 0-2 on Wellington Castillo.
That's a changeup. I mean,
91
is really right about average major league fastball, and that's what Sanchez throws as a changeup, but he's trying to get it at 87, 88.
Boy, that had sharp drop on it, nearly found the zone.
It will later on. Right now he's throwing it too hard, and young pitchers, like old pitchers, have to realize that it is a rotation pitch, not a velocity pitch, when you're talking curveball especially.
Strike 3 again, third strikeout for Sanchez.
I have kind of a secret Twitter account, and you know, I got to give it away because it was such an entertaining tweet. The secret account is under, I think it's something like Schlim Dabivic, and I think it was Linda and Gobe, quick to point out that no relation to their shortstop on the ball club, and she just said go Sox go. So apparently a big Sox fan. We'd like to have a shout out to her, so we're shouting
from the rooftops. Linda, here's strike 1 on Sanchez. Had a tweet from somebody earlier today who's a Sox fan that was out in the hotel in center field that said, hey, can you put me on TV? And I mean, there was no room number or anything, so we don't know exactly where you are, and we wouldn't shoot in the window anyway.
No, that would not be good.
But thanks for coming, and thanks for being in the,
yes, very nice.
The stadium. 1-1. It's downstairs. 2 balls and a strike on Sanchez, who we talked about it in the open. Yolmer said he got jammed a little bit on his home run. He was obviously joking because that ball was just crushed that he hit yesterday.
Yolmer's not going to hit too many farther than that. And that obviously was with no wind. Although amazingly, there are some pigeons in here as they fly by in tandem.
It's like the Detroit airport. You fly into the Detroit airport and there are birds flying everywhere. How'd they get there is the question. This ball singed to right field. Sanchez ticketed for extra bases. How many is the question, and the answer based on Grichuk's approach is 2. It's a double with 2 down for Sanchez.
The great thing about Yomer is that he keeps getting better. At first, when he came up, because of his skill set, they said, okay, well, this is swingman best. You know, maybe he gives you a versatile 5th infielder. Maybe he will fill in here every now and then. And all of a sudden, he started to look really good wherever the White Sox decide to play him. Now he's looking like a guy that you got to find a place for him to play, because he's swinging it very well.
One on, 2 out. And Anderson takes a strike. I'm reminded by our own Chuck Garfine about the home run for Matt Davidson. It's his first 3-1 count home run in the last 2 years.
I'll tell you what, Chuck is on everything. Mr. Stats, I believe they call him in the quieter moments. But yeah, that was great. How about on other counts, Chuck?
He can't talk to us actually right now. It was just via the Twitter box.
Was that on tape or is he live?
He's live.
Okay, yeah. You sure?
Yeah, he'll be live at the ballpark tomorrow. He won't be on tape in person. On the ground, and Gope has to charge. He's got to hustle, and he does on target for round number 3. So Davidson's home run gives the Sox a 1-0 lead.
Go. Join Ozzie Guillen, Doug Glanville, and Layla Rahimi for the premiere tomorrow night at 6:30 on NBC Sports Chicago.
Ozzie and Doug are going to be the best of friends by the end of that show.
I think it's going to be a great show. I think Layla's going to have to referee between the two, but I think it's going to be great.
Layla should get a hazard pay.
Yeah, I can imagine maybe just a helmet and a big stick. Sit in between them and whack them when they get out of line, which certainly Ozzie's going to do. Doug, I don't know. He's a little quieter than Ozzie.
A little bit.
So is a foghorn.
2-0 on Russell Martin, who didn't play in game 2 after a home run, and a big one at that in the opener. Carson Fulmer, by the way, 6 batters, just 1 first pitch strike so far. It came to Smoke. On the ground, and this is Tim's ball. Sanchez gave it to him, and Anderson for out number 1. Couple days ago, there was a problem with Stanton. They were booing him yesterday. 5 strikeouts, and now they all homered. John Sterling in the background. Stanton, Sanchez. I bet Judge homered too. Yeah, all rise. They were booing Giancarlo Stanton. 0 for 5, 5 strikeouts. Boo, get out of here. Wear it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's certainly a what have you done for me last at Bat City.
This is why you shift. Moncada for round number 2.
3 ground ball outs, 2 strikeouts. So you'd have to figure that Carson has his good stuff. The sinker is sinking, the fastball is running, and so far at least the Blue Jays cannot square it up against the young man who each and every time out he wants to be what he was the last 3 starts of last year, which was very impressive. Pilar has been learning to take the ball to right and right center field. In batting practice he was working on waiting, letting the ball get deep, and then hitting it the opposite way, because when he first started he was pretty much dead pull.
Talk about arm side run on that fastball. That thing is moving inside to right-handers.
Both of these guys, both these starting pitchers have great movement on just about everything.
Carson's mad at himself there, punched his glove.
Only because he held onto it too long and actually pulled it out of the zone. So that time he was trying to guide it as opposed to throw it. But he's got good enough movement tonight to just let it go. It's going to find its way into the zone, and when it does, they're not going to square it up too often.
You can just see on the mound how hard on himself he is.
That's a competitor. I mean, you don't go 23-3 in Vanderbilt without being a phenomenal competitor. I mean, that's why he's the 8th pick in the 1st round. The Sox thought that highly of just about everything about him, especially his pitching acumen and great movement.
It's been predominantly fastballs so far tonight.
When he's gone to the cutter, it's been good. But yeah, he pitches off the fastball like most pitchers. You establish your fastball, then you can pretty much do whatever you want. He's thrown a couple of changes. The cutter has been very good for him tonight.
Yeah, not much in the way of curveballs. He threw that one first pitch curveball to Grichuk.
Yep.
2-2. Ran inside, 3-2. Strike 3 called on the corner. Carved out a little place for himself on the outside edge, and Carson Fulmer lives there to finish off Pilar 1-0.
As you enjoy a Miller Lite, look forward to the Hold True moment later in today's game or tonight's game.
Feels like today when you're indoors. You never know what it's like outside.
Yes, we do. Especially you, because you walked here. And last night in the rain when we walked home, we could tell exactly what it was like. You looked a little like a drowned rat.
That's quite often. First pitch is ball one to Adam Engel, last Sox batter to hit in the game. He's 9th today after batting 7th yesterday. Over the top of the changeup, 1-1. Adam out of Louisville. You can follow him on Twitter at manofsteel15. That's STEAL. So you know what part of his game he embraces most, possibly.
It's really hard to play him too far back. Usually that's on the natural surface, but even here, you hit a chopper in the infield to the left side, he's going to be hard to throw out. So for Ngobe at shortstop, he wants to make sure that he's not too deep, even with 2 strikes. Same thing with Donaldson, whose arm is not as strong as it once was.
Sanchez has really good stuff. Strikeout number 4. Time now for One Thing with Ricky. What makes Yoan Moncada your leadoff hitter?
Again, Yoan is a guy that has a tremendously good eye. He's always working to get on base, whether through a walk or hit. I think he's going to continue to develop as a hitter and understanding how pitchers are working him. He's making better and better contact from both sides of the plate. But anybody who's seen him in his approaches sees that he does recognize the strike zone very, very well. And I think his numbers are showing that he's getting on base, you know, and will continue to get on base throughout the rest of his career, hopefully at a high clip, whether through walk or hit.
He had the walk in the first inning, and there the ground ball back to the mound. Sanchez with a nice play to take care of him. But what Ricky said goes to what we've discussed when it comes to Moncada. You can have a high strikeout rate, and while having command of the strike zone, you can know what pitches are strikes and still strike out some.
For a leadoff hitter, they pay off on base percentage. You'd love to have, you know, Ricky Henderson type leadoff hitter who can hit it out of the park and steal a base for you. And as Yoan matures, he can be that kind of leadoff hitter, but you envision in a different lineup construction him hitting somewhere where he can drive in big runs, because he's got power from both sides of the plate.
I think if I'm hearing it right, Greg Gibson is one of the umpires that says not only ball, but ball and then location. So ball in, ball low.
Not ball in Toronto?
Out. No. Not Lonzo Ball either. 2-1. But some umpires get taught not to say that, because if you miss the location, you then have misguided the hitter. And I think on that second pitch, I heard him say ball out instead of ball low. It's just interesting. There's not a uniform way to call balls if you're an umpire.
No, and I understand that. So when you're called on a pinch hit in the 8th, know that sometimes Greg will get it wrong, but the call is right. It's just the location might be wrong.
Right, but to the point, there is no one uniform way for umpires to do it. And if you hear them call it different ways, that's why. 2-2. Ball low.
Some umps will point forward, making it a little hard on the broadcasters if they're not all that audible. Other umps will move to the side. Every umpire has a distinctive strike call, especially on the 3rd strike. If it's a called 3rd, they'll give you some really classic reactions on that call,
including Enrico Palazzo. 3-2 hammered foul to the right side.
Jose waiting in the on-deck circle to see the resolution of this at bat. He would love to get a chance to swing it in this inning and maybe drive home Avi, unless he drives himself home.
Which he did last night. 3-2 is called strike 3. Very close. Sanchez got it. 5 strikeouts for him.
Only available at your local Wintrust Community Bank. Go to wintrust.com/socks to learn more. Wintrust Community Bank, members FDIC.
First pitch, bottom 3. Carson Fulmer, a strike to Gift and Gope, the former Pirate middle infielder who plays shortstop tonight for the Blue Jays, who are relatively thin at that position now with the back spasms in this series for Aledmus Diaz. Came out of the game last night. 0-2. Gift and Gope, who was in 7th grade, his school's cricket player of the year in South Africa.
And he ran into some Rhodesian Ridgebacks, of which I've had 2. I think they won the battle.
To his counterpart Anderson in one motion for out number 1. Your 2018 Chicago White Sox are presented by Guaranteed Rate, your trusted teammate throughout the mortgage process. Experience the difference today at rate.com.
7 outs, which have been, by the way, all of the outs, all handled in the infield. So ground balls and 3 strikeouts have accounted for 7 of the outs.
In an era when fly balls are increasing and increasing and increasing, it is nice to see Carson Fulmer playing on the infield.
There you see 4 groundouts, 3 strikeouts, 7 outs. Nothing hit to the outfield except for Granderson's rocket.
What about Carson Fulmer's pitching choices tonight have led to that?
The fact that everything is moving. The fastball is down consistently with downward movement. The changeup has been in a good spot. He hasn't used the curveball very much, so I have no doubt that when he does, it's going to be equally good as the other pitches. But tonight he's got good stuff, and we'll tell you about his physical and mental prep before the game. And that is, which we talked to him today. He introduced us to his wife, which was very nice. He talked to him about when he starts preparing for the performance today. He said, you know, I like to keep it kind of loose, kind of easy. And I start both physically and mentally and emotionally about an hour before the game. That's when I really start to focus. That's when I really go into game time Carson. And that's how he does it. Other pitchers don't, but it works for him. Travis at one point was as highly thought of as a prospect with the Tigers as you could get. But his body has just not allowed him to get the stardom that he was ticketed for. He was traded for Anthony Gose. Gose had some problems in Detroit. Travis has had problems staying healthy here in Toronto.
It's just 1 for 17 to open the year. He was 0 for 4 in the opener with 2 strikeouts. 2 guys from major college baseball programs. Carson, as you mentioned, went to Vanderbilt in the College World Series, and Devin Travis played for 3 seasons at Florida State. 3-year starter down there. This is very much more pleasant than your typical midseason game in Tallahassee when it's 150 of a heat index at first pitch. 2-2. He got him on the corner. Strike 3.
It has always been in this game and always will be. If you're around the plate, you're going to get the benefit of a call. That one had the corner anyway, but because he's been threading the needle on that side of the plate especially, he gets the call from Greg Gibson. This was not a gift. You see him shave off the outside corner, and the call by Greg Gibson, let's take a look at that as you take a look at Carson Fulmer.
Very steely reaction.
Well, it was an animated call. Greg Gibson has his own punch him out third. Very nice.
Six straight retired by Fulmer since they hit for Granderson. And a breaking ball for a strike.
Good time to break out the hook to get the feel for it. Donaldson was not going to swing at that pitch regardless of where it was. And he got the strike. Good late break on that one.
So loads of fastballs. First time through the order, and now the other stuff
Be nice to straighten him up with a fastball inside, because Donaldson has a tendency to lean out over the plate. So we saw the hook. Now he saw the slider. Let's see what Wellington decides to go to.
What do you think?
Well, he's going to throw an off-speed pitch. He's going to keep it away.
0-2. Donaldson flares it to right. Got him to chase out of the zone, and the inning's over. So another 1-2-3 inning for Carson Fulmer. To the fourth we go. The only run at Davidson Bob. The phone, the number 10 prospect according to MLB.com. Michael, how are you?
Good. How you doing, Jason?
Doing great, doing great. Steve Stone's here as well. What are you hoping for from this first start in Charlotte and from this 2018 season for yourself?
Well, for the first start, I kind of just want to take everything that I was working on in the spring training into that start and just fastball and really command everything. The changeup was a big thing for me this spring, and it's come a long, long ways. I've been really excited about it. I threw a live BP to our hitters today, and it felt really good. So if I can just continue to develop that and take that in the first start, I'll be really excited about it. But obviously the end goal is to help Chicago. But to get an opportunity would be great. So that's my main focus right now.
Michael, what do you want to leave behind from last year, and what do you want to bring forward into this year that you might have learned last year?
Composure has kind of been a theme lately. So kind of handling myself better on the downfalls, and focus on the positives of every outing. I feel like I do a pretty good job of that as is, but if I can continue to do better with that, I feel like that'll just kind of, upward and really get myself settled for the season.
What is it about composure that's difficult sometimes for you? Why do you think that shows up?
I know personally I'm a guy that gets really amped up. Have all the I'm going after it in every way I can. So when it gets in a little bit, and I have to be better about channeling that towards the hitter rather than, kind of getting irritated with myself.
How do you channel it toward a hitter?
I mean, get him out.
Easy as that, right? Michael, we don't want to keep you for too long. Really appreciate you stopping by, and good luck in your first start. We'll check in with you later, all right?
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, that's Michael Kopech, former Boston Red Sox and now White Sox pitcher. And this is going to be a very quick 1-2-3 inning for Aaron Sanchez. We'll parse what Michael told us when we come back. We'll get some better cell towers in North Carolina. Pitch in. Word of the night, hashtag SoxMath on Twitter. First correct answer wins a prize from here in Toronto. Number of days until the Sox home opener multiplied by Sox homers through the first 4 games, not including tonight, minus the number of teams other than the Sox in Toronto that Frank Thomas played for, and then add Frank Thomas's age currently.
Well, I usually guess 0, as you know.
Yeah.
So I'll guess 0. Do we have a chance of being right?
You do, but it's not great, I've got to say.
Not a good chance of being right.
Not tonight. So Michael Kopech joined us last half inning, and obviously we caught a portion of what he was saying. Cell phones being not what they used to be, I guess. But what I gathered from what he said was, number one, he's been working on the changeup quite a bit. He threw it today and felt really good about it. And then number two, he's just kind of working on himself mentally, the composure factor.
Well, he has to realize that when he does get here, and barring injury, he will definitely get here, he's going to need that changeup. And working on it now is something that will certainly benefit him as he keeps on moving up throughout baseball until he finally gets to the place where everybody wants to be if they play professionally, which is the major league. So very few pitchers can do it with just 2 pitches unless they have variations on both of them. So we know the big fastball is always there.
That ball is hammered by Smoke. Angle is there. He couldn't hang on, though. Boy, Adam's going to be really frustrated with himself. He wanted the one he dove for last night. This one hits his glove.
This went out like a knuckleball. If we can get the shot from somewhere behind home plate, and Adam is just looking up in the stands, I'm wondering why, but it went out as a knuckleball. It was hit so hard and probably hit a seam that it went off the glove. Now this is E8, but he knows he should have had it. I believe that it kind of knuckled to him, and he just eventually misjudged it. That ball actually was going toward the back of him. He overran it, but I'm not thinking he tracked it very well off the bat.
They're going to call that a double.
Well, for certainly for Adams' defensive numbers, that's good.
I was talking to Adam about the ball that he dove for in the right center field gap yesterday, and I said, were you really frustrated with yourself about that? Because he looked angry, And he said, look, if I go 80 feet, I might as well catch the thing if I'm going to be there. So that was his disappointment yesterday. But by his reaction, as you said, there was something funky going on with that baseball in center field. Avi can't put it away either. Smoke to third. Granderson to second base.
Once again, Granderson just tattoos the ball. This one is hooking. Right fielders know it doesn't matter. Right-hand hitter, left-hand hitter. It's going to go toward the line. Everything goes toward the line. The right-hander either slices it, the left-hander hooks it, but everything goes toward the line or your left side. Avi was there. A long way to run for him. Would have been a tough catch, but turns into a two-base hit, back-to-back doubles starting here in the Blue Jay half of the fourth. Normally an ominous sign. But if you can get the strikeout here, and Grichuk is no stranger to the strikeout, get a little closer to getting out of it. But right now, if you can just give up one and get out of the inning, it will be a job well done.
Castillo tried to get him to strike. It was ball one.
And Carson really has to bear down because he wants a ground ball. This is not, for him, a fly ball situation. He particularly doesn't want a fly ball to right or right center because that scores a run and moves Granderson to third. Ground ball to the left side would be ideal. Michael Novak looking on tonight, a young but very fervent White Sox rooter.
Rooting for something good to happen for Carson Fulmer here. In the air, right field. Garcia watches it fly foul. So 1-2, strikeout in play for Grichuk, who struck out more than 30% of the time last year.
Last time he got him on a slider away was a perfect pitch. This time at 1-2, another slider away, only a little bit further out off the plate. Probably gets you that second strikeout.
One, two. On the ground, back to the mound. Fulmer looks at third, throws to first, and that's a good start.
Perfect pitch, out away, just off the plate. Grichuk caught it off the end of the bat, right back at Carson. So now he's got the out. Perfect pitch. Carson did the right thing. You freeze the runner at third. In this case, it's Smoke, who does not have great speed.
Question. It's early in the game.
Yes.
But you've got Morales coming up next. Do you think about walking Martin?
Interesting. No. I like the righty matchup. I don't like righty lefty with the bases loaded and no margin for error.
There's strike one. You're wondering where you need to hit the ball, likely based on the numbers, for a sacrifice fly. You're in really good shape in the green zone. Yellow is average, and then red is don't run.
Hardest throw from the outfield, center field. He's the only one who has to contend with the mound. So it's a tough throw. You either sail the mound or bounce it in front of the mound.
To shortstop, and the Blue Jays aren't going to get a run, but there's out number two. You said it. If Carson Fulmer, now he's got two outs. If he can get out of this with only one run, that's a win.
It will be a job well done. And Tim thought about coming home, but that opens the door up for a big inning. So for Martin, it's RBI number 3. Tim takes a look, realizing that too good a break at third by Smoke. He takes the easy out.
And so the tying run comes home. Morales, the batter. Granderson, the only man left on the base path for Toronto. And Morales has not been close on 2 swings. 0-2.
You keep the ball inside to him, right above his hands, and he has very little chance. Last year, pitchers around the American League specifically just kept throwing him a steady diet of off-speed breaking balls.
Oh, 2. That was in the zone, and Morales pumped it foul. Oh, 2. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Change up away. And strikeout number 5 for Carson Fulmer.
And that gets him out with only 1 run despite back-to-back doubles to lead off the inning. A great job by Carson, battling his way out of a difficult situation and leaving with the score tied, and
still
that
not
is the wedding picture.
Not his greatest moment of the last 9-10 months or so, because this is when he married Sabina. Congratulations to Carson and bride. He's pitched well tonight.
Very well, and both of them have. I mean, it's tied, it's in the 5th, and both pitchers with very good stuff. The difference is Sanchez has been around for a while. 2 years ago he went 15-2, so experience-wise he's well ahead of Carson, but the stuff tonight between the two has been equal.
A Matt Davidson home run in the 2nd inning gave the Sox the run that they have, and Smoke scoring on the RBI ground out. But 61 pitches for Carson Fulmer, 55, now 56 for Sanchez. I think they want to pitch Castillo down.
That was a changeup. You know, you look at 89, 90, or 91. That's the speed of his changeup, and you can't identify it, but you'll notice that the bottom falls out. Even for a sinker baller, which he is, the changeup breaks even more.
He's got some filthy stuff.
Everything moves. You're talking to Buck Martinez, former Major League manager, former Major League catcher, current broadcaster with these Torontos. Said his stuff is electric. You get that curveball at 81. By contrast, my best curveball was 67. I really liked it at that speed only because so much disparity between my fastball and my curveball. But at 81, 82, that's a hard curveball by even today's standards.
That ball was very close to the zone. Castillo gets the benefit and a leadoff walk. Here's your Sox Math winner for tonight. The answer was 60. M. Naction is your winner. 1 day to the home opener. See you tomorrow. 12 homers for the first 4 games. Oakland, the only other Frank Thomas team, and the big hurt is 49 this year. The answer was 60. A number of correct answers. A lot of them, actually. M. Naction, the winner. Congratulations. You'll win something from the Toronto press box. Prize shelf returns during the homestand.
I don't know if we could somehow get them some cranberry juice, but it's tough.
Can't take the liquids on the plane.
Now, we were just informed of that. When did they start that? Like 3 days ago, 4 days ago?
Little further back.
Okay.
Yeah. 1-1 to Sanchez. You know, you look at the score from yesterday, 14-5, and you say, well, team got run, boat raced, as the kids say. But the Sox, that was one of those games where you felt like, boy, the comeback was coming.
Which kids say boat raced?
Boat raced?
Yeah.
That's a phrase that people use when somebody gets just beaten.
A current phrase?
Boat raced.
For millennials?
Yeah.
Ah, I see.
I learned it on Facebook Watch earlier today, taking in the Mets and Phillies. The inaugural broadcast on Facebook only.
A lot of rain in that one, wasn't there?
Oh, yeah. The tarp was on early. They finished late. Our old pal Todd Frazier and the Metropolitans won that game 4-2.
The Mets are doing pretty well. They're 4-1, and it has to be Todd Frazier on the ball club.
It's got to be.
No doubt.
Anthony Swarzak just went on the DL, another friend of the program.
Anthony was very good over here, by the way, which set up another deal for Rick Hahn and his staff in the front office to make. So he came over here throwing, by my estimation, harder than he ever threw before. And I mean, he parlayed it into certainly a few more years on his career, as impressive as he was in a White Sox uniform.
Sox got a pretty good outfielder out of the deal, Ryan Cordell. Through the right-hand side, a base hit for Sanchez. Castillo taps the brakes at second and gets back in time. Close play. 2 on, nobody out for the Sox here in the 5th.
Yolmer with a couple of hits tonight as he takes it through the right side. You see Travis playing pretty much up the middle. Smoke not able to get there. And Wellington did the right thing. Number 1, Grichuk doesn't play a deep right field, and also he's got a nice arm. So first and second, and nobody out.
So you've got Tim Anderson up.
Blue Jays expecting bunt, but you've got Adam Engel and Yoan Moncada coming up. I'm thinking maybe Ricky lets him swing away at least early in the count, but no.
Well, part of Sanchez is not happy at all. Sanchez having some words with Greg Gibson, the plate umpire.
This is something you don't want to do.
He said, you're rushing me to start the inning. And from what I heard, he said a word that you can't really air.
Well, it looks like John Gibbons is coming out. The last thing he wants to do is lose his very talented starting pitcher this early in the game. Now, could very well be he's going to hang around on the mound to see Greg Gibson come out. If he hangs around long enough, Greg Gibson is going to come out and they're going to have a discussion. But he gets the composure back, and now let's see if Gibby will just say something, and so far nothing.
It was a close pitch, certainly, but it wasn't a distinct strike.
I don't think that it was that pitch that got that reaction. I think it was the leadoff walk and the base hit, saying if he rushed him to start the inning, he wasn't as loose as he might have otherwise been. So that pitch was just incidental to that reaction.
He threw a pretty good pitch to hit there, too. Sometimes that frustration boils over to, I'm going to throw it real hard, and it's going real straight.
And it did. That's pretty impressive. First player in White Sox history with 3 home runs and 3 stolen bases in the team's first 4 games.
1-2. Tim with a late choice that time. Sanchez, the California native. Anderson from Tuscaloosa. Former first-round pick, 34th overall in 2010, Aaron Sanchez. 1-2. That tied him up completely, and Tim has to walk it off. This is between innings. Take a look.
Sanchez believes that he's got more pitches left, and so that precipitated the argument.
You see him take the breath. It's now about mentally steadying the ship for Sanchez, and Anderson trying to make him pay. Ball and 2 strikes. Castillo at second, Sanchez at first. .70 pitches already. Still nobody out in the 5th inning for 25-year-old Aaron Sanchez. Blue Jays got 5 1/3 from Jay Happ yesterday, 6 from Jaime Garcia on Monday. One and 2. Strike 3. Changeup inside. 1 away.
So last year Sanchez had some blister problems. There were a few guys in baseball that had them, including Marcus Stroman. So when he had the blister problems, he thought it was the nail. What he did was he cut surgically. He had a quarter of the nail removed. It didn't help the blister problems because usually it doesn't. And then with a quarter of the nail removed, he had some ligament problems, and that's what he worked on all spring, strengthening the ligament in that index finger. And unfortunately for him, he had a lost season because of it. They called it a cracked nail. It really wasn't it. This was a self-induced type of situation that sent him to one of the most miserable years he's had as a professional. But you know, you take your chance. He thought it was the right thing to do. It turned out it was completely the wrong thing to do, and it cost him.
Well, you never really blame a guy for saying, well, this isn't working, let's do something about it. Well, but sometimes you can rush into a bad choice.
Well, sometimes you get a blood blister under the middle finger because of that nail. You don't trim it quite as you should, and that's what he thought it might have been.
Angle gets drilled. Sox will take it. Bases loaded, 1 out for Moncada.
You notice the lead elbow is not padded up for Adam Engel, so when he catches one, and this one right off the side, anything above the belt for a hitter is going to really sting, and that will leave a mark. You see rotation on the ball. It's going to bear into the right-handers, although unfortunately for Adam, not that far in normally.
So now it's up to Yoan Moncada. Bases loaded, 1 out, and a chance to set fire to this game. Moncada high in the air, left field. Granderson at the warning track and the wall. And he made the catch. Unreal. Granderson with a juggling act in left field to put it away.
There is truly no reason to not score from third base. That was a nice play by Granderson, but you have to tag up at third until you see what happens in the at-bat. And that one for Wellington was not well played. We'll take another look. Fine play by Granderson, but Wellington, for some reason, he decided before the resolution of the play that he was going to go. Let the play develop. He's not going to throw you out from right by the fence in left field, and Wellington's been around for a while. He knows better. This turns out to be a great play.
Is there any chance this hit the wall first? Is there any chance?
It could very well be.
Watch.
I don't know. I think what's going to happen is they're going to take a look at it because Ricky and his staff have decided that it could very well have possibly been.
Now, is there enough video evidence to overturn the call is the question. See if you can see it up top. Where does it hit first? Yes, I think that hit the wall first, Steve.
Well, to me, if it did, obviously the play's alive, and then they'll just have everybody move up one base. If it hit the glove and then went off the wall, I think a different scenario.
I think that hit the wall first.
If it did,
I do.
I think you're going to see everybody move one base. If it did indeed hit the wall first and then he caught it. We'll have to see exactly what the umpires decide, or depending on their decision, Ricky can have them take a look at it. Looks like Jerry Lane is ready to give him the hand up. And now they're just going to take a look at it. We'll slow it down, slow it down. Boy, that looked really close to hitting. That looked to me like it hit the wall first.
I think so. I actually think that's definitive enough to say that is that's a hit from Moncada. Yeah, there's no way that hit his glove first. It goes behind the glove. I mean, that's the angle.
Well, right there you can see it clearly behind the glove when it's obscured by the glove.
And you see the padding move, and it's the top of the padding. That ball hit the wall first.
Yeah, I would think they'd give everybody one base. And now they're going to talk with, well, they're going to go back to New York to take a look at this, is what's going to happen.
So it's either out number 2 and no runs, or everybody's safe, the Sox get a run, and then Avi comes up with the bases loaded.
Yeah. I mean, that is, at this point, that's the best of the resolution of this particular play.
And for everybody who says, well, replay takes too long, we shouldn't have replay, whatever, this is the reason we have instant replay. This type of play is the reason it exists.
This is probably the best look we have from high overhead. You watch the glove. Right there, the ball obviously hits the wall before the glove.
That's clear. The fans are cheering here, but I don't know.
Well, they are, because they don't have that same angle on the Jumbotron. They have the angle from in front. They don't have the angle from high overhead. They haven't shown that to them. They don't have the angle that we have, that the guys got in the truck. If they did, I don't think they'd be cheering right now.
They're cheering every time Granderson makes the catch on the replay, as though it's happening for the first time. Let's see. This is also a circumstance where I'd really like to see an explanation from the umpire after the conversation with New York. We still don't have umpires mic'd. Please, somebody make that happen sooner rather than later. It helps in football. It helps everybody understand the rules. Let's see.
He's safe. That's it. A run and everybody moves up a base. And Jason, very well done. You caught it first. That's obviously young eyes. I try to face the field most of the time. And we'll slow it down. It quite obviously hit the fence. That high overhead that we showed was a definitive angle. And so, pretty good.
Again, I know there's a lot of, hey, replay takes too long and all of that, but I'd rather get it right, especially in a circumstance like that. Certainly they could have made posters about that catch for Granderson, but they're going to have to turn the laminator off because it's not a catch.
Well, Curtis tried his best to sell it, but for replay and New York, might have worked.
And now John Gibbons is coming out to argue.
Well, that's fine. He's not going to argue that call. He can't. I mean, he can argue it, but
let's see what this discussion is going to be about. What could be left?
Maybe he's going to want him to take a look at something. I'm not wondering if he passed up the runner.
Yep.
If he passed up the runner, then that's a problem for our Sox, and they probably are going to take another look at it.
So John Gibbons has his own video people.
Yeah,
Ricky Renteria has his own video people.
Well, he's not disputing the call.
Right.
He's disputing the fact that one base runner passed up another.
As I was just saying, replay takes too long. All right. Well, as it stands now, it's 2-1 Sox.
Okay, watch this. Did he pass him up? Did he pass him up? No, he didn't. Well, now.
Yeah, he did.
Well, now, yes.
But here's the thing. You called Moncada out, so of course he's going to stop.
I mean,
what are you going to do?
Right, you can't do anything.
Can't.
At this point, John Gibbons is right. However, by the fact that he was initially called out, then you have to say, okay, well, then that doesn't count.
Though I know you love revisionist history, well, you can't do it here.
No, but Gibbons is right.
Yep.
Ricky is right. The umpires probably were right. And at the end, it worked out really well.
That one hits Avi, so the Sox get another run. 3-1 your score.
We're watching a pitcher lose his composure entirely. Things have not gone well for Aaron Sanchez in this one, and he tries to throw a fastball through Martin instead of to Martin, and he got a piece of the hand. So that's 2 hit batsmen this inning to go with a walk and 2 hits. But bigger than that, 2 runs.
And still the inning alive with just 1 out on the board and Jose Abreu with the bases loaded. Can Sanchez find it again? Jose tried to jump him, and the Blue Jays are going to get out of this thing. 4-6-3. Sox will grab 2, though. Thank you. 3-1 your score. Sanchez still trying to plead his case.
Yeah,
yes.
We do, Chuck. We got some good stuff going on between innings here, and John Gibbons is out there trying to make sure that his pitcher hadn't given the heave-ho. With John Gibbons, the manager, out there to make sure that his starting pitcher was not given the boot, and it just ended before this inning started.
All right, so now you're Carson Fulmer. Complete haywire disaster area, short-circuiting for the top of the inning. Well, how do you get back on the mound and be the same guy you were?
You just have to make sure that you take your warm-up pitches in earnest. In other words, you don't lollipop the warm-up pitches.
Ooh,
And
boy.
that one got a good piece of Wellington. Hopefully he's okay, because that got him square. I mean, you can't get hit any more squarely in the mask. Watch it again. I mean, that one was a blast. He took it. There was no carom off that, and right now, feeling the jaw, they're going to probably somewhere along the line want to take a look at it. He's been hit a lot, but he hasn't been hit squarely in the mask that much.
Herm Schneider, the birthday boy, comes out.
And this went on the entirety of the half inning, which is really amazing. Normally a pitcher wants to get in there and get prepared, and that's an animated starting pitcher. Now John Gibbons comes into the picture to make sure he doesn't lose him, and eventually this breaks up, but this took the better part of two minutes.
Rarely do you see that.
You don't see it. You just don't see this. This is very rare. But he thought that Greg Gibson rushed him between innings, and he feels that the walk and the single, especially the first two hitters, it was to blame. Well, I'm not sure about that, because you have to pitch over adversity. That's not a whole lot of adversity. But he lost his concentration. Sox took advantage for two.
In the air, right-hand side, Avi on the charge is there for out number one. And by the way, we just got a look at Herm Schneider, who came out of the dugout. It is his 66th birthday. Happy birthday to the best trainer in all of baseball, Herm Schneider.
What a great thing. And this is 40th year in the business. Hermie's celebrating a birthday, and all the accolades that he has accumulated over the years are well deserved. So Hermie, thanks a lot for all the service. The ball club thanks you, and you got a lot of friends all around this great game of ours.
And a lot of players who are friends of his too, because he's kept a lot of folks off the disabled list with what he does in that training room. And Gopay to center field. Engel is underneath, and there's out number two. You saw the towel on Herm Schneider's shoulder in the clubhouse earlier. There was an MLB Network special on about the battle between Reggie Jackson and Billy Martin. And so they have that fight at Fenway Park, and Herm Schneider's in the dugout. And his major role in that was to try to keep the cameras away from the fight. He took his towel and he threw it over the far side camera in the dugout. The other cameras in the stadium, of which there are many, in his timeless age, very smart, but the other cameras caught the fight.
Well, that was one of those things that Hermie was trying to save the life of Billy Martin, because in those days, getting in the way of Reggie Jackson might have been a problem, although Billy was a scrapper, would never duck any fights at all, and they decided to have this one in the dugout.
On the ground is shortstop. Tim is there, and he throws a bullseye to first. Quick inning for Carson Fulmer, right back to the bat rack for the Sox, up 3-1. They show me the Chicago White Sox into your X1 voice remote and get live team stats on your TV. Change the way you experience TV with Xfinity X1. And as you could say, you can choose free will with your Xfinity remote.
I love Geddy Lee. I love Rush. And I believe the music and the hospital both are outstanding.
And the street while you're at it. And the delivery service. 0-2 on Davidson. Sox are up 3-1 after a wacky 5th inning.
See if you can get the young man before he regains his composure. When he has it, he's awfully good.
Man, that hook drops real fast. That's twice. He's nearly sunk it in the zone at the top.
What he's going to figure out, and he's going to be much tougher, is when he starts to take something off that curveball, makes it 2 distinct pitches instead of just 1. But that'll come with a little experience.
How do you do that?
You tuck it deeper in your hand. He probably throws it at 81 or 2. He's throwing it out on the fingertips, giving him velocity as well as rotation. He'll tuck it back in his hand, get the same motion, the same arm speed, but it'll come out at least 6 miles an hour slower. And right now he's lost his arm slot. He's staying under the fastball. He's pulling the ball, and he's worked a count where he was well ahead to a 3-2 pitch. This is 83rd pitch, and the bullpen is starting to loosen up. They're loosening up with their legs at this point. It'll soon be their arms.
There's the explosive fastball upstairs in the zone, and strikeout number 7 for the Sox tonight.
Matt Davidson, who had some calls yesterday that he didn't care for, went up and tried to get one, but that spot higher than high for the fastball, very tough to deal with.
One down for Delmonico. You know, for Matt, you look at yesterday and you say, okay, 3 strikeouts, and he struck out a bunch, nearly 200 times last year. But they were strikeouts looking. I mean, he was trying to command the zone, so you almost want to say, keep doing that. Although, as you say, borderline pitches and 2 strikes, you're going to get rung up sometimes.
And unfortunately, the younger you are in the game, the more likely you are to get rung up on close pitches.
Yeah, but I will always contend that shouldn't be the case.
Yes, well, I know. Perhaps in Clown Town, but here in the big leagues, yeah, it is the case.
It shouldn't matter.
I know.
Everybody should be their individual
Absolutely.
person.
You were born in a Norman Rockwell painting, so I can understand where you would think that. All things being equal, and should be this and should be that, it's just what it is.
3-1 to Delmonico.
I'll tell you what, I know he's not hitting anymore, but you try to get a called third on Joe Morgan.
Is that hard?
Yeah, you could spend the rest of your life trying to get a called third on Joe.
But that doesn't mean it has to progress through the generations. You can get umpires who are blind to age.
Absolutely, and that's the only way that I'm working in this business still.
3-1. Nicky skewers that ball through the infield.
So that has to be a base hit. Donaldson, who is not used to seeing the ball at that angle because he hasn't been a second baseman, just has that ball scoot under the glove. So if they're going to give a base hit on the ball to Adam Engel in center field, they certainly should give a base hit here. This ball is scalded, and Donaldson, well, he gives it the Olay. Turns to the side, watches it go into the outfield, and lives to fight another day.
Call it E5, Steve.
This guy's having a bad series, whoever is the official scorekeeper.
Did make a change on one of them.
Yeah, well, this one should be changed also.
Are you saying that he might need an all-expense-paid trip to Clowntown as well, along with me?
No, you never. I would never say that. Did I say that to you?
You did? Yeah.
My memory is so bad these days. Yeah. Where are we going after the game?
Home.
Oh,
Steve.
ET, thank you.
3:10 first pitch tomorrow. Guaranteed rate field, home opener. Stop by, say hi, whitesox.com. A number of luminaries will be there on opening weekend. AJ Pierzynski will be at the ballpark.
Yeah, there's going to be a few people there. It's going to be a nice weekend. And Detroit provides the opposition.
Some ceremonial first pitches to show you. A.J. Pierzynski, Shannon Brown Jr., the local actor, Kendall Coyne as well, throwing out the first pitch.
And we will tell you, for Chicago in April, tomorrow the weather is going to be good enough to come to the ballpark and enjoy it. Normally it's good enough to come to the ballpark. This time you'll come to the ballpark and you will enjoy it, assuming you dress a little like bear weather.
A little warm, dress warm,
yep.
But you're going to have a great time with a fun team. Kendall Coyne, by the way, is from my neck of the woods, Palos Heights, a hockey gold medalist.
Wait a second. How many hometowns do you have? You keep telling me home was
just the
Flossmoor, and now it's Palos Heights, and pretty soon it's going to be Northbrook and then Glenview.
Oh, the
and
south suburbs.
Oh, I see.
In general.
Okay, you're claiming the whole south suburbs, apparently.
Well, you know, when people say where you're from, I say Chicago. You say Cleveland, right?
No. I say first Cleveland Heights and then South Euclid. I told you I was from the south. So how could I not be from the south if I was from South Euclid?
Give me about 3 innings to parse that sentence, and we'll straighten it out. Delmonico at first, 1 down, 3-2. Nicky's off, and this ball's into left field. Nicky's going for third, and he's going to get there easily. He was on the move on the pitch on 3-2, and Castillo's 1 for 2 in the game.
And well called by Ricky Renteria, knowing that Castillo probably going to need a little help to get to second base on time, but this one shoots through the left side. And we'll take a look at Delmonico. He looks back, sees the contact, realizing that he's coasting into third base, so Ricky stays out of the double play. And here comes Pete Walker. That's probably going to mean that the bullpen is going to start to get loose. He's at 94 pitches. There's nobody throwing yet, but this is somewhat surprising because he can very easily get blown out of this game right here, and he's got nobody up in the pen, which should be rectified here pretty soon. Right now, still nobody is throwing. Greg Gibson is going to come out. They're going to break this up on the mound, and still, oh, just now somebody starts throwing out of the pen. So
isn't that a little late for Sanchez's emotional state?
That and his run state. I mean, apparently, again, and we don't know, but John Gibbons does, that O gets ready quickly. Otherwise, he wouldn't have waited quite that long to get him up. We've seen him in this series.
Seung-Hwan Oh, former Cardinal. Sanchez takes a strike.
Yomer's got a couple of hits. One of the things he would like to do is hit at the very least a fly ball in this at bat. He is hoping that Sanchez will throw one maybe thigh high instead of knee high, because knee high is sinking. Knee high usually gets the ground ball.
It's a good pitch too, right at the knees. 0-2 on Yolmer. Sox need to start a glasses line with Sanchez and Fulmer. Sox spectacles.
It'll sell.
It's gold, Jerry. That one called a ball.
Take a look at the sac fly again. Granderson, the weakest arm in the outfield, although we've seen him make a very good throw in this series, nailing Jose at second base.
One-two. On the ground, Travis and Gope. And a double play. The Jays turn 2, and the Sox can't score in the 6th. Sox 3-1 over the Jays.
United Center for the last time this season. It's Blackhawks Blues, and coverage begins at 7 with Blackhawks pregame live. You can also stream the game live on the NBC Sports app.
Every time we see the Blackhawks, we think of Eddie Olczyk, and we talked about it in spring training. But again, congratulations to Eddie for his battle and working through it. One of the best analysts in the business at any sport, and we were both overjoyed. Everybody with the Sox was overjoyed when we heard that he had beat this thing. So we've been thinking about you, and I know Chicago has too. And congratulations, Edzo.
I will add something to that, as you usually do with everything you say, and that is a good buddy of mine, Bud Fisher, going through the same battle that Eddie won. Bud is going to win the battle, but it's going to take a little time, so we send out some best wishes to a great White Sox fan who comes to many, many games. And Bud, get healthy, because it's going to be an exciting year for the Sox.
We know he'll be at the ballpark asking rampantly silly questions.
Well, that's
very
true.
soon.
But it'll be great to answer those questions.
Yes, we love answering them.
Yep. Yeah, like why is second base in the middle of the diamond? Things like that. Not difficult questions, but kind of questions that you shake your head about.
1-1 to Donaldson. Serve past shortstop. Tim gave it a really gallant effort. Donaldson with a base hit. Join us as the Sox take on the Tigers Saturday, April 7th. This Saturday, 1:10 p.m. First 15,000 fans get a White Sox winter hat presented by Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling. To purchase tickets, visit whitesox.com.
The Sox have had 11 base runners in 6 innings and squandering many opportunities to score. You have to hope that it doesn't come back to haunt the club, because they had some opportunities. They had their foot on the throat of Aaron Sanchez. They could have put him away, but the ground ball double play has gotten him out of a whole lot of trouble. He's thrown 3 of them tonight.
Ball 1 to Smoke. That was in the zone. Didn't get the call, and now Aaron Bummer getting loose. One of 3 lefties out there for the Sox. Carson Fulmer's maximum pitch count in a Sox jersey is 98. That was September 10th last year in a win against the Giants. Your thoughts on Carson tonight so far?
I think he's been terrific. I mean, this has been an outstanding performance, regardless of the resolution of this particular performance. At the 72 pitch mark, and we're talking into the 6th inning, he's kept his pitches to a minimum, given up only 3 hits against a club that's been pounding the baseball. In fact, the last 4 games, 2 against the Yankees, they hit the ball very well, and this the 3rd against our Sox. And Carson has just been brilliant so far.
Right side, and trouble. Donaldson hoofing it for 3rd. And he stops there. So 2nd and 3rd, nobody out for Toronto. And Curtis Granderson coming up, the left-hander.
Similar situation in the 4th inning when Smoke led off with a double. Granderson also doubled. Now is when you start thinking about, perhaps with Granderson, maybe if Carson stays in, maybe you put Granderson on. You take your chances with Grichuk, Martin, and Morales. But we'll see what Ricky has in mind as this one rattles around in the corner. Ricky is coming out. That's going to be it for Carson Fulmer. And apparently he really enjoys the lefty-lefty matchup. We'll see if Granderson stays in the game, because Ricky's coming out. His intention, I'm pretty sure, to take Carson out, leave him with a very positive attitude, make sure that he can't lose this one. And so as he walks out, we'll step out, and we'll be back after these messages. Aaron Bummer in the ball game, and John Gibbons, not wanting the lefty-lefty matchup, goes to Steve Pearce. You might remember him with the Baltimore Orioles. One thing to bear in mind, he is a prolific first ball fastball hitter, very aggressive hitter, loves the ball middle in, and usually if it's in the zone, first pitch, he's going after it. Now undoubtedly he'll probably take, but that's been his propensity.
Second and third, nobody out. Pierce, a line drive to left, exactly as you said. The Jays get a run. It's 3-2.
That's why Pierce is still in the major leagues, because regardless of his defense, he can really swing the bat. So he came in hitting 200, but only 5 at bats. First ball swinging into left field. They're 1 run closer.
And now Bummer is charged with getting a right-hander out in Grichuk, who's 0 for 2. But as we told you, for his career, Grichuk has actually been slightly better against right-handed pitchers. And again, you're making the decision based on what your guy throws, depending on what the batter likes to see. So sometimes those reverse splits can be something of a mirage. But what isn't is Steve Pearce swinging at the first pitch. 2-0, Bummer to Grichuk. Now 3-0 with Russell Martin on deck. He was swinging and swinging at a pitch out of the zone on 3-0.
Because you're given a 3-0 green light, John Gibbons did not give the sign swing at any opportunity. Even if he hits that, it's a ground ball to the left side. But he really helped out Aaron Bummer.
He did it again, 3-2.
Well, when you strike out a third of the time in the course of a major league season, like just about last year, you're not as selective as you would like. And he came over with the rep. We're seeing it. He's got huge power. He's a very competent, athletic right fielder, but he will be short of contact quite a bit.
3-2. And now he took strike 3.
That's kind of interesting, and hitters do this a lot. They swing at 2 terrible pitches, then get rung up and think that that was the bad pitch and the reason why they struck out in the at-bat. So we'll take another look at it. That one is just really above the belt. And even though Wellington tried to ease it down into the zone, Greg Gibson just thought it was a good strike.
Which it was. Grichuk was trying to convince himself he'd taken ball 4, but wasn't close to that. So Martin with a double play in order. Aaron Bummer would adore a ground ball here, which Martin has done twice, both to shortstop.
Danny Farquhar loosening in the pen. Russell Martin has yet to ground into a double play.
.35-year-old Blue Jays catcher Russell Martin. Pierce at first, Smoke at third. Called outside, 2-0 on Martin.
Russell hit a big home run in this series to put the Blue Jays on top, and they went on to win 4-2. That coming off Danny Farquhar. Now he's looking at the left-hander Aaron Bummer, who certainly needs a strike.
He gets it off the foul ball, 2-1. Well, you've got Morales, the switch hitter, next, and it is remarkable how close his numbers are in terms of on base plus slugging for his career against left and right. So it's really a coin flip based on career numbers, which one he'd rather face, whether it's lefty or righty.
If you face him from the right side, you actually get a step or step and a half out of the batter's box. That's a real big advantage, but I think he's always been more powerful left-handed.
On the ground, third base side. Sanchez comes home and gets the out.
Boy, wise play, because you're not going to turn two. The runner was going. You figure the only play you got, the best play you have, is cut down that run at the plate. You preserve the lead. Nice play by Yolmer. Wise choice. You can't stop, throw across your body and get it to second base and think about two. So he takes the play that was there. He's charging hard and comes home and makes the play. Also knows that Justin Smoke has very little speed. He knew he had some time, and he throws him out easily. Nice play by Wellington.
Savvy play by Yolmer to come home, and now suddenly 2 down. And the other pair of the Sox Specs trying to preserve the win for Carson and his eyewear. And ball 1 to Morales.
I think personally, regardless of the resolution of this at bat, I think that Ricky makes a nice move here by not letting him hit left-handed. Aaron throwing a pretty good running fastball right now. Again, you only can judge a move when you make it, not the result.
Up the middle, center field. Pierce is not the quickest. Throw coming home is offline. He did get there, and we're tied at 3. Adam had a shot at him, but the throw was to the right of home.
Andres Morales, who at one point was a huge run producer, takes it right back up the middle. It's a fastball. No chance. Adam Engel thought he had a chance, but here's the problem. He tried to airmail the mound, and consequently the ball on this very spongy surface actually bounces high. Watch it here. It bounces higher than it would off grass, and that high hop and the fact that the throw was off the mark, that got the run home.
Adam was talking about that just before the game today. He said this is the bounciest surface he has ever played on in terms of true hops off of this surface. And there, it certainly did not help. So Bummer's going to come out. It's still a tie game. Sox need 1 out to get out of this jam. And here comes Danny Farquhar when we come back. So he comes in, and there's some problems.
Normally there is problems when you call to the pen. And there's a look at Danny Farquhar. He inherits 2 on. Runners at second and third, on for the 3rd time. The ERA not as he would like.
Danny, back-to-back games with a decision going from Saturday to Monday. He got the win Saturday, took the loss on Monday, had the day off yesterday, and now into some quicksand here in the 6th. Ball number 1.
Pilar's been hot. This is a very hot start for him. Last year, the first month of the season, was also a hot start for him. Then he was leading off. So you have first base open. It'd be nice to just pitch like that with him. Good solid strike, evening the count. And Pilar, early in the season, normally hitting it well, and this year no exception. You do have Ngope in the on-deck circle, and they're running short on shortstops.
Well, you wonder if they might pinch hit Solarte.
I think they probably would. That's why you have to go after Pilar, because Solarte, the one thing that's kept him in the major leagues for as long as it has, and John Gibbons before the game last night said to me, we got Solarte over here because we know he can swing the bat, and that's an option if in fact you were to either walk or just plain pitch around Pilar.
1-2. Farquhar keeping it low, and that was part of what Ricky Renteria was hoping for from Danny in his next outing. Head to the park for the first Dollar Hot Dog Wednesday of the season, April 11th. Sox take on the Rays at 1:10. Take advantage of this unbeatable deal as you cheer on the Sox all season long. Dollar Hot Dog Wednesday. Get your tickets at whitesox.com right now. One and two on Pilar. That ball stayed up, and Pilar swatted it foul.
Solarte, a .250 hitter, but all of his damage coming from the left side. He's a .286 left-hand hitter, which is why you'd rather face Pilar than Solarte.
1-2 is a low. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Nice job by Wellington of making sure that the game is not untied. Tied at 3 here in the bottom of the 6th inning. It's been a very entertaining game to this point. Was a fine performance by Carson Fulmer. We can't lose sight of that in what has happened this inning.
5 innings plus a couple of batters, 5 hits. Pilar rocks it foul. And you hope everybody's okay over there. You see the reaction from Sanchez and the fans standing up. My goodness.
Well, Luis Rivera at third base was almost dehorned, as they say. He is well away from the coach's box. He is toward home plate, and yet that one would have left maybe 2 marks.
Oof.
One going in and the other going out.
This ball hit up the middle. Tim is over on it, and his throw is on the mark for out number 3. Anderson, a rangy play, and the inning's over. The Jays tie it, but nothing more. Danny wriggles free.
time. Man who played for the Cardinals, now secured a spot in the bullpen for the Blue Jays. They've got Osuna at the back end. He's a terrific closer, and last year he blew 10 saves. However, he's got a great arm. He's just 23 years old, and he's the man that John Gibbons trusts implicitly at the back end of that pen. But to get there, got to hold him right here. O comes in, and Tim Anderson with all of that speed, the man who made the play, and a pretty good play it was, to his left up the middle to get out of the inning with the 3-3 tie.
Tim, couple of stolen bases yesterday, flashing that speed. And a foul ball to start the at bat. You mentioned O, formerly of the Cardinals. Grichuk on this team used to be a Cardinal as well. And there's a great story today, Sports Illustrated, about Tommy Pham, the Cardinals player who started last season in the minors, had a really rough upbringing, and is very candid in the story about how angry he was that he wasn't able to crack the opening day lineup for the Cardinals last year, and kind of the strife that can happen mentally for a player. And we're going to see that sometimes with every major league team. You're going to have somebody who feels like they're blocked and doesn't have the opportunity to make it up. And he was surprisingly open in this story about how frustrated he was that he could not make it to the Cardinals, and then had a wonderful season last year.
I was going to say, he took it out on National League pitchers, so worked well for him.
And Gope at shortstop, clean pick, and there's out number one.
Let's take a look at Xfinity high-speed action, and of course it's powered by the aforementioned Xfinity. Good play to his left up the middle with a lot of spin on it. Gets a throw over there and out of the inning. Still a tie game. Nice play by Tim. This is not an easy infield to play. Just ask Josh Donaldson.
Just ask anybody. You mentioned Tim too, saying that ball, he got handcuffed by a ball behind second base 2 days ago, and Tim said, I really don't know where the bounces are going to take me off this surface. Tim also part of the reason that Daryl Boston now has an Instagram account, by the way, which has a profile that simply says blow that whistle. So thanks, Tim. You could follow Daryl on Instagram now.
You know, for 3 days I've been talking to you about the fact that Sox had a Polanco in their bullpen. I think that I think he was still down there, but
this ball is into left field, a rise ball from Engel to left, and a one-out single.
But it was not Polanco. It was Felipe Paulino, who was a starting pitcher, not a reliever. So he was not in the bullpen, but on the team. So I not only got the name wrong, I got the designation wrong, I got where he pitched wrong. Other than that, it's the same guy.
Yeah, you nailed it.
Yep.
Thought you might have been talking about the Pizarro that the Sox had previously, or Vasco da Gama.
Pierce takes over in left field. Came up with a big hit. Now he's playing defense. Just a good aggressive hitter, has been for a long time.
Can the Sox get this finale? Close games for a long time the last 2 days. Sox did lose big yesterday, but in large part due to a 7-run 8th inning. Sox led the other night 2-1 after 6.5, going to the bottom of the 7th. And then the Jays with a couple of home runs in the waning innings. Moncada late 0-2.
They used to throw a lot of 0-2 pitch outs. They don't do it much anymore. This is a really good time for Adam Engel to take off. Let's see what Ricky has in mind. Martin looking over in the dugout to see if they want to pitch out 0-2.
Upstairs, got him swinging. It was high and then higher for strikes 2 and 3, and 2 away.
There's a higher than high. That's where Martin wanted it. That's where he got it. And Yohan goes down on strikes for the first time.
A walk, a strikeout, a comebacker, and an RBI on that wall ball that got behind Granderson's glove in left. If you missed it earlier in the 5th inning, what initially was called a juggling catch for Curtis Granderson with the bases loaded for the Sox was reversed and became a hit for Yoan Moncada, giving the Sox the lead. Didn't last much longer though. Avi was hit by a pitch with him loaded, made it 3-1, but the Jays got 2 in the 6th, and here we are tied at 3 in the finale. Long hold from O, and ball 1. He looked unhittable a couple years ago, Seung-Hwan Oh, and then last season there was a massive change in his numbers.
Sometimes the first time everybody takes a look at you, you do really well, and then the advanced scouts get you.
One and 2 on Garcia.
Avi thought he should have pounded that one to right center field because it was right in his sweet spot. It was down, it was out, probably just a little too low for him, but a good pitch to hit, and O beat him with it. Another high fastball, lay off it if it's out of the zone. Avi.
1-2, way out of the zone, and he does. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Sox came into this game in first place in the Central, tied with Minnesota, who's leading right now 7-3 in the 9th at Pittsburgh. Engel at first. Avi sprays it foul.
You know, there's a set of numbers which determines if you try to run or not, and it's delivery for the pitcher from the time he sets, the time he gets it to the plate. And it's leather to leather from the time the catcher catches it to the time he gets it to whoever's covering at second. 1.3 is average in the major leagues for a pitcher from the time he sets to the time it hits a catcher's glove, and 2.0 is typical for a catcher. So anything under 3.3 you run, anything over you can go.
And the Sox will go. Strike 3. Avi wiped away by O, and at stretch time we're tied.
Tomorrow night, Jordan Zimmerman for the Tigers. He's been often injured the last few years, and James Shields coming off a wonderful performance against Kansas City. Good matchup tomorrow in the opener at Guaranteed Rate Field. Come on out and see it. This is, win or lose, a very exciting baseball team.
It's a team that has played a full 9 innings with the exception of maybe 1 inning. Last night,
It's a team that's been in each and every game this year. And look, granted, Kansas City's not going to win their division, most likely. Toronto won't win theirs, but when you stay in each and every game, a couple of breaks here or there allows you to win it. And that's what the Sox have done. They've been competitive in each game. They've been very close in each game.
Danny Farquhar gets a strikeout to open the 7th inning. Hey, Sox fans, back by popular demand, the Chicago White Sox are offering a limited edition Cancer Ribbon White Sox cap for $29.99. $10 from every cap sold. Support White Sox charities and Rush University Medical Center in cancer research. Caps are available in park and at the Chicago Sports Depot for a limited time. Get your hat today and join the team for a wonderful cause.
That's why we've got to talk to Geddy Lee after the game, because of his wonderful hospital and the great things he's done for people over the years.
The great things that Christine O'Reilly and her group do for people as well.
Yes, they do.
By the way, you mentioned James Shields with his spectacular opening day magic act. Really gave up 4 runs in the first 4 batters. Ended up winning the game. He was the first pitcher to give up 4 in the first inning on opening day and win since Orville overall in 1908.
I got to tell you, the wind was blowing out that day. It made that performance even more spectacular.
So Orville was born February 2nd, 1881.
Yeah.
You know what they called him?
No.
He was a large dude, and he was born February 2nd. They called him the Big Groundhog.
That's a nickname you might want to put on the shelf for a while and come up with Bud or Pal,
Punxsutawney Orville,
or Spunky.
I mean, not like Orville overall is exactly Walk of Fame stuff either.
Nate Jones up in the pen, and at probably any sign of trouble, Nate's coming in this one.
I'm told by Chris Kampka, and I can't believe I didn't know this already, Orville overall died the day you were born, Steve.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Well, then apparently the Big Groundhog was open for a nickname.
There were only 2 players in Major League history. You spanned the entire spectrum of the game, you and Orville.
Oh, wow. If I had only been 20 years younger, if I was born in 1967, I wouldn't be here with you.
Well, had he seen a shadow the year before, you would have been born in '67. Broken bat to third. Sanchez is there for out number 2.
How about that? The great coincidences of the game. That's one of them. Meantime, Ricky and the boys would dearly love Danny Farquhar to finish off the 7th inning. And he's got a very tough man to face. And Ricky's going to go to the guy who looked brilliant all spring, the guy who looked brilliant in Kansas City, and he wants to wipe out Donaldson and put an end to any speculation of untying this game here in the 7th. So as Ricky walks out, undoubtedly brings Nate Jones into the game. A nice job by Danny Farquhar, and we'll step out and be back after these messages. mentioned Nate Jones. He's got to face a guy that has just terrorized Sox pitching. Just one game, but all spring he was just dominant. We were waiting to see if Nate was healthy, because when he is healthy, he is really tough to deal with. And you've got a hitter that's tough to deal with in Donaldson. He has homered against the Sox in 5 straight games for the 2nd time in his career. That's not an easy trick.
All right, make it stop. Uncle on the whole Donaldson homering thing. Let's get a ground ball and finish it off. Oh, meat cleaver swing.
I just don't think you can consistently stay away from him and get him out. I think occasionally you got to push him back inside to set up that outside corner. And that time, Donaldson thinking first ball fastball. He got it, but that one was down and out of the zone, and he's in a hole.
That's a strike. Pinpoint on the corner, 0-2.
Wellington is actually looking to see if Donaldson is getting closer to the plate. And the reason is that he's probably thinking about throwing a slider. And he doesn't want Donaldson to take even a millimeter closer to the plate if he's thinking about a slider or anything on the outside corner. So he took a good look at him. Now we'll see what he is calling.
On 0-2, it's a fastball. Donaldson crushes it. Right center field. The ball dives, though, and angles there. Josh Donaldson falls short, and the Sox will go to the 8th. Your heart's in your throat. You're not the only one. Or more or worse.
That pitch was on the inside part of the plate, and Donaldson thought that it was out. Nate pounds the glove because I think he believes it's going to stay in the park. It does, and Adam Engel able to run it down.
The thrill of victory, the agony of defeat. All in one for Nate. So, 1 inning for Seung-Hwan Oh and Ryan Tepera out of the bullpen for the Jays. We've seen him already.
And when we saw him, the hitters don't like his stuff. He throws an exploding slider. He usually keeps it low and on the outside part of the plate. And when we did see him a couple of games ago, he was just overwhelming.
The only hit he gave up in that game and this year was to Jose Abreu, who he starts against here in the 8th. Jose had a bases loaded chance in the 5th. Here he's ahead 2-0. Tepera overthrew that one. 5 hits in the series for Jose Abreu. 2 last night, 3 in a row to end the opener. 2-0 is low. 3 balls, no strikes with Davidson on deck. All right. 3-0 leading off the inning. You got Abreu up.
You let him swing. You absolutely let him swing. In fact, on 3-0, pretty much you always let him swing. So let's see what Ricky has in mind. Let's see if Jose likes it.
Here it is. And there it goes. Abreu massacres this ball to left center field. And that's why you swing 3-0. It's 4-3 Sox.
That was a blast. In fact, with your cheeseburger, have a baseball, sir. That went to the restaurant level. The game is untied. And Jose with his 2nd home run, his 3rd driven in, takes it way back. Knowing you're not going to get a slider on 3-0, Jose just pummels the baseball. It is, as some of our tweeters have talked about, a titanic home run. The Ford home run replay is long gone.
Have your dinner out there with a side of baseball guts and a big hug for Greg Sparks as Davidson takes yet another borderline pitch called a strike. Matt's got to feel like he's on the Truman Show or something.
I mean,
right
it's
now.
well, it is Groundhog Day for him because he keeps seeing the pitches called strikes.
0-2. And by the way, just updated the Cuban home run leaders career, the top 10. Jose Abreu is there.
Yeah, there's, I mean, at least for me, I won't say that Jason and I, but for me, those top 2 you can take down. And Jose Abreu will eventually catch just about all of those guys.
Davidson got hit by that pitch, and he's going to go to first.
Matt just glad that that wasn't called a strike.
The fans think that hit is bad. Tepera thinks it hit his bat.
Well, they also might think that he actually swung at it, but I don't think either. So, and John Gibbons, knowing that this is a key play in the game, the difference between him on and him back at the plate, he wants him to take a look at that. Clearly got the wrist before anything else, and he didn't swing.
And he didn't swing.
No.
Yep.
So he's at first, and it's going to be a very short look at this, I believe. It got him hopefully on that padded area of the wrist.
By the way, you don't scream like that if you didn't get hit by the ball, likely. You've been around too many people who play tricks on the field, by the way. I'm like hopelessly naive about pretext.
I think you actually, for instance, I've seen a lot of hitters on low end pitches, they hop around for a while until they get the call, go to first base.
Oh, but that's fine. Hopping around, that's different than the human reaction of yelling when you get hit by something.
No, but I'm saying hopping around when you don't get hit.
I know.
Yeah.
That you can fake hopping around more than you can fake a primal scream when you get hit by a pitch.
Can you explain to me why? Because there's no correlation between the two, and you can yell without getting hit just to sell the call.
Yeah, but if you watch his face.
I did. And you can sell the call.
Very real.
So grimacing, I believe you call it. Yeah, that grimace. I understand that, but that's part of selling the call.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
We'll ask Matt on the next podcast.
Once again, Pollyanna, it happens in this game.
That's Paulino, actually, I think.
We got a pinch runner for Matt Davidson. He did his job. He got on.
Thanks, Ricky.
And Daryl Boston looking over at the sides. Lurie Garcia with big speed on the base paths. I was talking to him, by the way, about the bouncy outfield also, and he said he's never seen anything like it.
The ball just gets sprayed all over the outfield on a hop as this one goes to second base and could be 2. And is 2. Beautifully done by Ngope. Soaking up the oncoming contact from Garcia, and 2 out.
If the Blue Jays get any offense at all from Ngope, it's going to be a plus because they love the way he plays defense. And he's made some very difficult double play turns. He looks like a very accomplished defender. They love the fact that he was the man in ready reserve. He was their insurance policy in case Troy Tulowitzki went down. And Health-wise, Tulowitzki has had a hard time staying healthy. He's not healthy now, and Gope really helps them.
There's a strike on Castillo, and we were talking about it yesterday. The depth of this team is what might carry it to a wild card possibility for Toronto.
They believe they have a shot. I mean, the Yankees and Boston are going to be tough to catch.
High in the air, Pearson left, but the Sox grab the lead. Jose Abreu tattoos a 3-0 pitch, 4-3 to the home 8th. I bet you he made a shot. I bet you he did. Defensive changes coming for the Sox. Nicky Delmonico moves from left to first, and Larry Garcia moves to left. So Davidson out, Delmonico to first base, and Garcia getting acclimated with this turf here in Toronto. So Justin Smoak is first, then Pierce and Grichuk against Nate Jones, who gets a clean inning after getting the final out last inning. This ball is hit very well to left center field. Engel in the gap. Adams over. Larry's over, and he made the play. Beautiful jumping grab to save the day to start the bottom of the 8th. And the switch comes into play immediately.
Larry Garcia has big speed, and he stays right with this one. Smoak has tremendous power. And back to the wall. Garcia goes up. Adam Engel gets out of the way, and he makes the catch. Terrific play. Could turn out to be a game saver. And the last two balls that were hit when they left the bat both looked like they were going out of the park. The Donaldson fly ball to Engel. The Smoak fly ball to Lurie. Nate Jones breathes a sigh of relief.
This ball hit hard to left. Garcia's there, 2 away. Nate's pretty much over this, though. The laser show by his reaction to the last one.
You know what? This is a good hitting baseball team, and so you credit Carson Fulmer. Denny Farquhar had a good performance, and Nate Jones is trying to nail down the last out here in the 8th inning before they try to add on some more offensively in the 9th.
Take a breath. 2 down. Grichuk. Ball 1. What a fun first week of the season, huh?
This is a really entertaining game because, as we were talking between innings, there's lots of stuff in this one tonight.
Lots of stuff. Busy, busy night. as the Sox have their 14th home run of the year. Xfinity Kid Zone overlooks left field and is accessible from all levels of guaranteed rate field. Space features batting and pitching cages, base running areas, skill instruction as well from Chicago White Sox Training Academy coaches. Check out the latest Xfinity technology, including the X1 platform, X1 by Xfinity. It'll change the way you experience TV. 1-2 on Randall Grichuk.
Good wipeout slider here ends the at bat.
Wasn't a good pitch. 2-2.
Jay's pen up and going. Loop, the left-hander on the right, and Osuna, the right-hander on the left. Osuna, their closer. Loop with excellent stuff and a huge breaking curve or slider, whatever he calls it.
Fastball coming up and in, and Nate gets rid of Grichuk. And a 1-2-3 inning. 4 outs for Nate Jones in an inning and a third clean.
Just like we promised, it's time for the Miller Lite Hold True moment. And it is none other than Jose Abreu. 3-0 pitch, absolutely crushed. That's the difference in this ball game. Exit velocity 110.8. Distance 430 feet, interrupted by the restaurant up there. Second career home run on a 3-0 pitch.
He should do that more.
I would think it's a good plan. That's a very good offense. Aaron Loop comes in. We told you about that big breaking ball he has. Left-handers have done nothing with him. Quite obviously, they're having a hard time like everybody else. And hitters say it looks like he's pitching from second base.
Sanchez, a foul ball to open the 9th inning. We have an update, by the way, from Loop's last outing last night. He pitched the 9th inning. He is a left-hander from Hahnville, Louisiana. H-A-H-N, Hahnville, Louisiana, in his blue suede shoes. And we asked the question, has Rick Hahn, the White Sox general manager, ever been to Hahnville, Louisiana? And we can report through extensive research that Rick Hahn has never been to Hahnville, Louisiana. We need to get them together at some point.
There you go. The answer to your question.
No.
Ask and answer, counselor.
Strike 3. Objection to that couple of pitches from Luke. Sanchez punches out, 1 down. By the way, the Jays in the home 9th will have Martin, Morales, and Pilar scheduled. And again, the switch hitter, Yangervis Solarte, available on the bench with a couple of others. But he is the guy to look out for in that 9th. Tim Anderson, after a 3-hit night last night, down a strike here.
Soria warming up in the bullpen. More than likely it'll be him in the ninth. Nate Jones has done his job. There's a look at a man that at various times in his career has been an absolutely lights out closer.
Saw Soria in Kansas City, his former home. Tim takes strike 2. So Joakim Soria getting loose in the Sox pen, and Tyler Clippard in kind for Toronto.
Boy, this is getaway night. Let's hope he stays there. Tyler, a wonderful man and a fine pitcher, but very slow.
Tim disappointed. Strike 3. Loop has thrown 6 pitches. They've all been strikes and 2 punch-outs.
He's just an excellent left-hander to have in the pen, because when he gets the right-handers out, you take for granted he's going to get the left-handers out, and things work out very well for him. Adams had a nice night.
Strike 1. He's been on base twice. Walked yesterday in an 0 for 3. Well, last year, you remember Jacob May was the opening day center fielder for the Sox, and took him quite a while to get that first hit. Was sent down to AAA. We didn't see him, and then Engel finishes the year in center field, struggling with the bat. So it's nice to see Adam. Though 4 for 19 isn't world-beating numbers, he has been putting together quality at bats.
Look, it's a vast improvement over last year. So we don't know the resolution of this year, obviously, but just looking at Adam, he's much more confident. He feels that the changes he made, along with Todd Steverson, are really going to help him over the long haul. So although you usually have to take a half step back to take 2 steps forward, right now it looks like the progress is pretty good.
And that's the positive of a season in which you're looking at the long view. You have a window that's opening. You think maybe in 2019 you have a chance to be patient with somebody like Adam Engel while he makes adjustments in the big leagues.
He's so good defensively. Normally, I don't think that he's seeing the ball in this park quite as well as he'll see it outside. But normally he just goes and gets everything and does it with ease.
Just glad he stayed healthy after that dive last night. Didn't look great at the outset, as he takes outside and again works the count to full. Payoff. Engel stays alive. Quality at bat again from Adam Engel.
And he's battling, hoping to give Yuan a chance. Okada has a base hit tonight. He's walked once, so 500 on base percentage at the top. He continues to get on base.
3-2 from Loop. Adam hits it high in the air, left-hand side. Steve Pearce is underneath, and that's it in a 1-2-3-9. Sox need 3 outs. Blue Jays have Martin to start it off. Here comes Soria.
the Tigers. Coverage begins at 2 with White Sox pregame live, or you can stream the game live on the NBC Sports app.
Tigers were postponed today against Kansas City, and here's a former Royal to the mound.
Joakim Soria coming in. His heyday was in Kansas City. 42-30, 43 saves in 3 separate years, 2007 to 9. There you see the numbers. He's 1 for 1 in saves. There was a little drama in that one, as you can see, with a walk and a hit. Let's see if he can make this one a little less dramatic and equally as effective.
Not a lot of room to maneuver here with a 1-run game, and Russell Martin taking strike 1. Blue Jays won the first 2 of this series. Sox trying to come back for game 3 and get back over 500. Nice hook for a strike.
Good curveball. Looked just a bit like an ephus pitch, which is one that goes straight up and down. Martin not ready for this. High, slow hook in the zone. He tries to seemingly turn into it, but no such luck.
Ball and 2 strikes on Martin. Opening day at home coming up tomorrow. Sox trying to get back in the win column. Soria in that 9th inning on Saturday. Same score, 4-3. Gave up a leadoff single. That was to Alex Gordon in the 7th spot. This is Martin in the 6th position for Toronto. And he goes down swinging at a changeup. So strikeout for Soria, 1 away.
Well, Martin saw the fastball, then he saw the very slow hook, and now he sees the change. So he's seen about the entire repertoire of Soria, but not effective on anything. And that's a huge first out. Now you got to judge or dodge Morales. We already judged that he's pretty effective with that base hit in the 6th. Drove in a run.
It's a dud.
Yeah, this is a very powerful man.
Joakim Soria throws ball number 1. Here north of the border, when folks want to apologize, they say they are sorry. And let's see if Joakim is sorry about it and puts the Jays away here in the 9th. 1-0. Off the plate by a hair. 2-0. Ball 3. All right, so it's 3-0.
Now he's representing the tying run. Personally, I think John Gibbons gives the 3-0 green light. And Soria is going to make a good pitcher. He's just not going to lay one in. If he does get on, we're going to see a pinch runner. It's probably going to be Diaz because they're running out of players.
That's a strike call. Morales was about to ditch the bat.
If you're a pitcher, you say good enough. Well framed by Wellington as he eased it back up. You watch the glove just back up ever so slightly. Nice job by Castillo of selling the call.
Into center field. Adam is there. Out number 2. So, potential last out, Kevin Pillar, who at one point in his college career had a 54-game hit streak, an accomplished hitter who was under-recruited and under-thought of on his way to pro ball, but has made a nice career out of it in center for the Blue Jays. 2 out. Breaking ball, ball 1.
1 out to go. It will be a nice road trip. And also, the Sox will come home on their first home stand of the year, which, by the way, is tomorrow. If you have some time, come out and see it. It starts at 3 o'clock. And the Sox will be tied with Minnesota, who won to run their record to 3-2. The Sox would be the same with one more out.
A curve for a strike, 1-1. Fastball at 92 got by his bat. 1 ball, 2 strikes from Soria.
Okay, at 92, it's just about average, maybe a little above average major league. But after that slow hook, it looks like 102.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Quick pitch, fouled away.
If you're termed and you are a crafty veteran, you're going to break everything out of the bag in a save situation. So he thought that maybe he could sneak one by Pilar. It almost got by him. He was just able to foul the ball at the very last moment. That looks like the changeup.
On 1-2. Pilar sprays it foul.
Good pitch, good location, but Pilar, give him some credit. He fought it off.
Nine in a row retired by Sox pitchers since Danny Farquhar came into the game in the 6th. Ball and 2 strikes from Soria. Pilar takes. Sox hoping to celebrate a series-ending win. Will that be the man who had the game winner, Jose Abreu, on a 3-0 home run in the 8th?
That's a changeup again. That's the pitch he wants to get him on.
Another foul ball from Pilar.
And another quick pitch from Soria, who's disrupting the timing of Kevin Pilar. Has yet to get one by him, though, for the definitive out of the ball game, the one we've been looking for this entire series. Out number 27 in a winning Sox effort.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Soria closes up the road trip with a win. The Sox will head home for opening day at Guaranteed Rate Field at 3-2.
If anybody said, what would you take on this road trip? And you said it was going to be 3-2, I think everybody would have signed up for it, knowing the weather would be bad in Kansas City. You're coming against a pretty good team in Toronto. Sox head home with an over 500 record and the opener tomorrow, so get your rest. It's going to be a dandy, young man.
See you then. Me, you, Hawk, everybody in the booth. We'll have a great time.
A wonderful time tomorrow and a very successful last ball game in Toronto.
Sox win it by 1 thanks to Jose Abreu. For our producer John Walgren, director Jim Angio, associate producer Chris Kapka, tech manager